In 2014, Formula One changed. A new era began. The FIA made a lot of changes regarding the technical regulations like turbo hybrid engines, 8-speed gearbox, single exhaust, narrow front wing, low nose tip. Let's stop at the nose tip, because the regulations for the survival cell and the nose produced one of the oddest nose designs in Formula One history. Have you ever wondered why this happened? Let's sketch the grid together and find out. Race cars are neither beautiful nor ugly. They become beautiful when they win. A famous quote by Enzo Ferrari. Well, in 2014, not a lot of cars managed to win. During the history of Formula One, we had a lot of different designs regarding the front part of the cars. Sometimes the noses were lower, sometimes higher. The trend from 2010 to 2013 was to have the nose tip as high as possible. For 2014, the FIA changed the technical regulations for safety reasons. They lowered the maximum nose height from 550 millimeters to just 185 millimeters to reduce the risk of cars launching during a crash. The problem: engineers still wanted airflow under the car, so they exploited every loophole possible to get performance without completely breaking the rules. The result: Frankenstein noses that looked like vacuum tubes, anteaters, or worse. Teams used every millimeter of regulations to get that underbody airflow, feeding the floor and diffuser. Mercedes had the best-looking design. It was short, simple, and effective. It didn't even look odd or strange, like the others did. In my opinion, this is one of the best low-nose tip designs in general. Red Bull had a design that they almost managed to hide with their livery, so it wasn't that bad aesthetically speaking. They used a narrow, finger-style nose, sometimes called a thumb tip design, with a rounded protrusion extending just far enough to meet the minimum cross-sectional area. Unlike the more extreme solutions from Caterham or Lotus, Red Bull prioritized clean airflow and stable vortex generation over extreme nose height manipulation. Lotus, on the other hand, went with a completely different design. It was a fork-like nose with two asymmetrical tips. The intent was to maximize airflow under the car by minimizing blockage in the center and directing clean air toward the floor and diffuser. Some were comparing it with the iconic Williams BMW from 2004, but let's be honest, Williams did it way better back then. And Ferrari, also a really unique design that, from a certain angle, wasn't even that bad. But it, for sure, did not help to have good results throughout the season. They chose a conservative and robust design, wide and flat. If I had to choose, I would rather choose not to see this kind of nose anymore on a Formula One car. McLaren, Toro Rosso, Williams, Sauber, and Force India had a really similar idea. Extend the nose tip as much as it is possible, like a really long finger pointing forward. Not the best idea, aesthetically speaking, to be honest. However, this thin extension allowed airflow to pass underneath the chassis cleanly, preserving underbody aerodynamics, critical for diffuser performance. Marussia had a bit of a different idea. Their design looked somewhat similar to the nose on the Red Bull. Some would say Caterham had the most complex looking. Someone would say the worst looking nose design. For sure, it was an extreme solution. It looked like they took their previous design, cut the front part, and created something that would just fulfill the requirements. In theory, it was a clever way to maximize underfloor aerodynamics while staying within the rules. But in practice, it raised eyebrows, for all the wrong reasons. Let's sum up the facts. Fans hated the noses. Media laughed. Memes exploded. And thankfully, the FIA responded. In 2015, the rules were adjusted to eliminate the loopholes that caused these odd designs. 2014 will always be remembered for the birth of hybrid power units, but for many fans, it was the year Formula One went full fashion disaster. At least we learned one thing. Just because you can design it, doesn't mean you should. However, Formula One was never about designing a pretty car if it will lack performance. Mercedes dominated the season. They won both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Beside them, Red Bull was the only team able to win a race. What are your opinions on these designs? Which was the best and worst looking nose design according to you? And what is also important, can the rule changes for 2026 bring us something similar? Let us know in the comments. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends to help us create more similar content.